One of the most requested AI automations right now is RAG. It connects your AI chatbot with your data. This gives you more accurate answers and match how you work. It's just not hype. Real agencies get paid for it.
My AI agency made $40,000 last month. So our number one bestseller, as always, was our RAG agent.
After this tutorial, you walk away with a RAG AI agent you can pitch to your clients, plug into your business, or demo at work today. Small businesses pay for simple automations done well. See this.
You genuinely could spend 3 weeks learning Zapier and learn backend automations, and you could go into businesses and do their full backend automation setup for $5,000 a pop. Like, people actually don't realize how quick it is to learn a skill and then monetize that.
And the best part is, you can build a RAG AI agent in less than 20 minutes. And I show you how, step by step. The reviews and people who want custom RAG chatbots instead of using ChatGPT directly comes down to 5 crucial benefits. First, answers are more accurate and have fewer hallucinations. Answers are always up to date with the latest information. The AI adapts to your domain and data, and also provides sources for the answers. And the best part is, it does not need any retraining when new knowledge arrives. And this is how it works. With ChatGPT, the AI gives you an answer based on what it learned during the training. That means it can sound smart, but still make mistakes or miss the latest information, also known as hallucination.
If you ask, in what year was made-up name President Tucker Carlson of the United States born? What it should say is, I don't think Tucker Carlson was ever president of the United States.
Right.
But because of the way they were trained, that was not the most likely response in the training data. So it assumed like, oh, and the user has told me that there was President Tucker Carlson, so I'll make my best guess at a number.
RAG fixes that by searching your data first. It takes the most relevant pieces, adds them to your question, and then sends it all to the AI. This way, the answers are more accurate, up-to-date, and backed by your own sources. And to really see this in action, let's build one together. I will use Valve's new employee handbook since it's open source. Watch this. I drag and drop it into Google Drive. That simple step triggers the automation and stores the knowledge in a way the AI can actually understand. Now the chatbot instantly has access to it. Let's test it out. I will ask, should I do extra hours? And here's the chatbot's reply. It says occasionally overtime is fine. But if it happens a lot, that usually means something went wrong in planning or communication. And right here in the handbook, you can see the exact same text highlighted. That's the power of RAG. You're getting real answers backed by your data. And the best part is, I can keep adding more PDFs. Each one makes the AI smarter, with more knowledge to pull from. Once built, sharing is easy too. I can just open the chat link in my browser or send it to someone by email, and they can start asking questions right away. By the way, if you're new, I'm Ed. I scaled my own business to over 20 million in revenue using AI and AI automation. Now I teach business owners and beginners how to leverage AI inside my community, AI Space. Here you also can get the template for the RAG automation that you can simply plug and play. So if you want to go deeper into this stuff, this is the place to be. But let's go back to building and how we actually set this up. And it's a lot simpler than it sounds.
But before we start, make sure to open up in the classroom section the RAG page so you can easily follow along and also download the template here. And if you're not part of my community, make sure to open up the Google Docs document in the description box below. First, we open up n8n and create an account here. Once we create an account, we click Create Workflow and import the template provided in the community. After you've done that, you click here Activate, then double click here on Chat Input and simply copy this URL. You can open up this URL in the browser and use it right away. As a bonus, when you stick until the end, I will show you how to integrate this chat bubble to any website that you like and directly use it. And you can directly provide it to your clients or embed it to your own business page. I will give you now a short overview of the whole automation, and then we will build it step by step. This part here on the top is necessary to provide the chat interface. And this part of the automation necessary so we can provide the data for this chat interface. And it works pretty simple. It gets triggered when a new file in our Google Drive arrives or a file gets updated. Then we extract the most important information like the file ID, file type, and file name, and also the file URL. After that, we check if it's a PDF. And if so, we first delete the old data we have already for this document in our database. Then we have to first download this file, since here we get only provided with the file ID. And then we extract the text information from this PDF file, since the PDF has also some images that we're currently not extracting. And then this information get to this node. But let me give you an example. First, I deactivate this current workflow, so we can easily test it here in the browser by clicking Execute Workflow. First, let's download an example, in this case the Valve handbook that we can find here. Then download it, and then upload it to your Google Drive. After that, click under New File, Execute Workflow, and now the automation starts. When I click here now on the file ID, we see here it's the same file name like I provided. So at this step, the file gets downloaded. We can even see it here. And in this node, we extract all the text information you can find here. If you compare the text here in the PDF and the text here, you will see it's the same. After that, we provide this text information to this node here. This node takes the information and chunks it down to 84 items, like you can see here on the right. Chunking is necessary because large texts are too big to store as a single vector. So we break them down into smaller pieces to capture meaning accurately and make it searching easier. Besides that, imagine this file would have a lot of data. If you would provide ChatGPT with too much data, we receive the message you submitted was too long, please edit and resubmit. That's why it's necessary to chunk down first the information to little chunks that we can later get on demand. Therefore, it's important that we chunk down the information. So how this whole process works is first we have a PDF. Here we extract the text content. Then we chunk down this text content. Then we use an embedding model that gives us a vector for this chunks. And then we put it in a vector database. If it sounds cryptic for you, don't worry, I'll explain it in a minute. So imagine instead of a text chunk, you provide this embedding model here, a color like red. Then you would receive for this a vector like this that represents a dot in this vector. For this example, since we only have red, and this is here the red axis, we have the red dot at this place. Another explanation for embedding is it's just a list of numbers that places things like words, images, or sounds as dots in a space. So similar things end up closer together. For example, kitten will be near cat because they mean almost the same. Like you can see here, for example, when we give this input images, then we see here the blue images that are cats and the light blue images that are dogs. They get then embedded in this vector and then they represent a dot in the vector database. For example, here are cats and here are dogs. And since they're animals, they're here in this space. While completely different things, for example, nature is here on the top. So that means we can provide chunks to an embedding model. This gives us a vector that represents a dot in a vector database. The cool part is we can also provide a query to this embedding model and also receive a vector that represents a dot in a vector database. And what we do then is we check which dots are close to our query and then return these chunks back. For example, if our query is kitten, then this little dot represents it. Then we look around which other dots are around this kitten query, for example cat, and return these chunks back. But enough theory, let's see it in action. For that, I open here the chat and type in, should I do extra hours, and send off this message. Now the AI agent checks the vector database before it answers and gives us then an answer. And here it also says that extra hours may indicate a need to reassess planning or communication. When I open up here the vector database, I see what chunks from our PDF were provided. So based on the query, should I do extra hours, our embedding model returned this vector and then also returned 20 chunks. What happened then is our re-ranker checks which of these 20 chunks are the most 4 relevant ones. Then the vector database returned these chunks to our AI agent. Our AI agent took our prompt, should I do extra hours, then took the system message that we provided him and the chunks, and based on that provided us the answer. And without further ado, we will now build this step by step. First, you go to n8n.io and click Get Started if you don't have an account yet. If you already have an account yet, log in so you see this dashboard. Click here, Create Workflow, and give it a name like RAG. Then we add our first step. For that, we click here the plus icon and type in Drive. Here we select Google Drive and select as a trigger on changes involving a specific folder. First, you have to provide your credentials. For that, you click here Create New Credentials and provide the client ID and a client secret. How to do that, I explained here under Google Drive how to. This video is also provided in the description box below. Once you've done that, you have to provide a folder. For that, you click here by URL. Then you open up in your browser a Google Drive folder that you would like to monitor. Then you copy this URL and paste it here. Then under Watch For, you select File Created. And then you can click Fetch Test Step. Now it says, no data with the current filter could be found. Of course, because we didn't provide any new file. So we go back to our Google Drive folder and drag and drop the Valve's new employee handbook here. Once it's uploaded here, we go back to n8n and click again Fetch Test Event. This time you can see that we have an output with a lot of information here. We go back to Canvas, click the plus icon and type in Edit Fields. We do this step to filter out the most important infos that we need. For that, we click here Add Field, and the first field we want is the file ID. And here we need to provide a value. For that, we look here on the left, and under ID, we drag and drop this element here. Then we also do the same for file type, file name, and file URL. You can also copy this, but first, click here Expression, and then paste it here. You do it for all these 4 elements that you can also find here, and then click Execute Step. This makes it much easier to work in the rest of this automation. Then we go back to Canvas and click here the plus icon. And here we search for switch, drag and drop this element here, and we make sure that we continue only if the element type is exactly this one, application/PDF. We rename this output PDF and click execute step. Under add option, we select fallback output, and then we select here extra output and go back to Canvas and click save. This ensures that we only continue if it's a PDF file that got uploaded. First, we click here for the fallback, the plus icon, and type in do nothing and select this here. And then go back to Canvas. Since we don't want to process any other file types for now, we select the plus icon and type in Drive, select Google Drive here, and then select download file. Then under file, you select by ID and drag and drop the file ID here. Then click execute step. When everything works fine, you should see here the checkmark icon and the file. Then go back to Canvas, click the plus icon and type in extract, and then extract from file, and select here extract from PDF. Here you make sure that the input binary field is the same like from the file, and then click execute step. When you click here now on the table and scroll down to the right, you will see the text from this PDF. Then you go back to Canvas, then click the plus icon and search for Pinecone, and select Pinecone Vector Store. And select here, add documents to vector store. First, you need to provide your credentials. For that, you click here, create new credential. And here you need to provide an API key. For that, open pinecone.io first and sign up if you don't have an account yet or log in. Once you're signed in, go to database and click here, create index. Give it a name like n8n testing. Here you can leave the options like in default and click create index. Then you open API keys, create a new API key, give it a name like test, click create key and copy it. Then paste it here and click save. If everything worked fine, you should see here connection tested successfully. Then close this window and select under Pinecone index, the Pinecone index you just created, and leave everything else like it is. Then go back to Canvas, click here the plus icon under embedding and select use OpenAI embeddings model. Here you need first to provide your API key by clicking create new credential. And here you need to provide an API key. Simply click here how to, and there is explained how to get the API key. It's pretty simple. Once you've done that, you select under model, text embeddings free small. Then you go back to Canvas. Then under document, you click here the plus icon and select default data loader. Under mode, you select load specific data. And then you select here on the left under extract from file, the text here and drag and drop it here. Under text splitting, you just leave it simple. But what it basically does, it splits every 1000 characters with 200 characters overlap. Then under options, you click add option and click here metadata. Then click add property and give it a name like file name. Then under edit fields, drag and drop the file name here. This is necessary so we know which chunks belong to which document. This is especially useful when a document gets uploaded and you need to delete the old files first. And then you click go back to Canvas. Then you click again here on the Pinecone Vector Store and we will click execute step in a second. But first go to database and select the index you just created. Here you will see no records yet. Now we'll click execute step. This step might take a while. And we got a little error because the vector dimension is wrong. For that, go back to Canvas, double click on the embeddings model here, click add option and select under dimension, select 1024. Then go back to Canvas again, double click on this element and click execute step. Now we receive the message that it worked. When I go now back to our Pinecone vector database, you will see here that we have many new elements. Each element has an ID and a text chunk. When I click here the three dots and click edit, you will see here the vector for this chunk that our embedding model generated. So next time we provide this embedding model a search query, it will also create a vector like this. And then we will check which dots are close to this search query and provide these chunks. One more thing to look here is the record count. We got 84 items. This is because our Pinecone vector node chunked down this PDF to 84 items like you can see here. After that, click save. If you click now again here, execute workflow, it will now run again with the same file. Now it's finished again. Let's see what happens in our Pinecone vector database. When I reload this page here, you will see 168 records. Why? Because we ran now this automation twice with 84 items. This is not good because when I would instruct now my AI to only get the 2 most important chunks for a certain search query, I would receive the same chunk twice because there are now 2 chunks closely to our search query. And since we don't want that, we will now delete all chunks for a certain file before we add for the same file new chunks. To do that, we go back to our n8n, move here the elements a little, and then click here the plus icon and type in HTTP and select HTTP request. Here you click import curl and simply copy and paste what is under delete old vector embedding and paste it here and click import. First, you need to replace this URL. For that, you go to your Pinecone and copy here under host this URL and replace it. Then you scroll down here and you need to provide your API key. It's the same we obtained before and paste it here. Then we continue scrolling down here and under JSON we click expression and click this little icon here. Then under file name equal to, we replace this placeholder here, go to edit fields and drag and drop our file name here and close it here. This step ensures that we delete all chunks that we previously added for this file and click go back to canvas and click save. If I click now execute workflow, first we delete all previous chunks. When I now reload this, then you see that all records are deleted, but only for this file. So if you would have different files also here, only these certain records would be deleted. Let's go back to our n8n and click back to canvas. And like you can see here, we received here an error in our download file. Let's double click on it. And the problem is we need to provide the file ID here again. For that, simply delete this one and under edit fields, drag and drop the file ID here again and click go back to canvas and click save. Let's execute again the workflow from the beginning. And now it worked. And the last thing we want to do is that our Pinecone vector database also get updated when a file gets updated. For that, we click here the plus icon, select here add another trigger, type in drive, select Google Drive, select on changes involving a specific folder, then select under folder by URL, go back to canvas, simply copy the same URL from here to this trigger, and under watch for, you select file updated. Then you go back to canvas and simply drag and drop the plus icon here to this node and then click save. Now we recreated the whole workflow for this part. Next thing we have to do is to provide a chat interface. Now let's provide the chat interface for our RAG AI agent. For that, click here plus icon, select add another trigger, select on chat message. Then select make chat publicly available. This way you will receive an URL that you can share later with your clients. Then click go back to canvas and click here open chat. Type in should I do extra hours and send it off. Nothing will happen now since we didn't connect it to anything. For that we click here the plus icon, select AI, then AI agent. Under source for prompt we select define below and drag and drop the chat input here. Then we click add option and select system message. Here we simply provide the system message I provided here for you. It basically says it should always use the vector database for your answers. Then click go back to canvas. Under chat model, select the plus icon and type in OpenAI and select here OpenAI chat model. Select here your preferred chat model, for example GPT-4.1 mini, and click go back to canvas. Under tools, select the plus icon and type in Pinecone and select Pinecone vector store. Under operation mode, you select retrieve documents, and under descriptions, you simply copy and paste the description I provided here for you. And for the Pinecone index, you simply select from the drop-down menu here. And as limit, you select 20 and you activate re-rank results. And then you go back to canvas. Then you select the plus icon under embedding and select embedding OpenAI. Here you simply select the same model that we selected previously, text embedding free small, and click add option and select here dimensions and select here 1024. Then you go back to canvas and click the plus icon under re-ranker and select the re-ranker Cohere. Here you click create new credentials. Then you go to cohere.com, create a free account here. Then under dashboard you click API keys and simply generate an API key here. And then you provide it there. The model you can leave like it is, and top N I select 4. This means from the 20 chunks that we received back, we received the best 4 for our query. And then I click go back to Canvas. And then I click save. When I now click open chat and type in the same message, should I do extra hours? Our AI agent uses our Pinecone vector database before it gives us the answer back. And here it also says extra hours signals a failure in planning or communication. Then close this here and click save. Now when I click here activate workflow, our workflow is live and I can send anybody this URL and they can open it in their browser and use it. Also now, these two triggers listen to any events that happen in our Google Drive folder. So when we add any new PDFs, they will directly embed it in our vector database. And now the bonus. I will now show you how you can embed this AI agent to any website with a little chat bubble. For that, you click here the three dots and select duplicate. Give this whole thing a name. Then you click when chat message received and select under mode, embed it. Go back to Canvas, click save and activate this workflow. Now you need to go to your website and add this little snippet. For example, when you use Webflow, you can simply select here settings for the page that you want to embed this, then scroll down here and under inside head tag, you simply paste this whole snippet here and then you need to provide your webhook URL. For that, you go to your n8n, double click on this when chat message received and simply copy this webhook, go back to your page and paste it here. Then click save and publish the whole thing. When you open up now your website, you should see here the small chat bubble. I hope you liked this tutorial and see you in the next one. And if you want to learn more about AI and AI automation, make sure to join my community.